Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez and Stoffel Vandoorne were F1 Fanatic star performers of the Malaysian Grand Prix. Here's why. Stars Max Verstappen. Verstappen put one over Hamilton. Verstappen put Red Bull on top in the wet first practice session, but the track stayed dry from then on. Nonetheless, he pipped Ricciardo to third on the grid, which effectively became second when Kimi Räikkönen was unable to get away. Having shrugged off an attack from Valtteri Bottas, Verstappen went after the other Mercedes. He reckoned, correctly, that Lewis Hamilton would anti-force the issue if he tried a move, and sure enough he succeeded at the first attempt. From there on he built himself a handy lead and preserved it to the end, taking his first victory of 2017. Lewis Hamilton. The Mercedes was not the force it usually is in Malaysia. Nonetheless, Hamilton, having chosen not to use their aerodynamic upgrade and benefiting from Sebastian Vettel's absence from Q3, snuck it into pole position by a few hundredths of a second, and well clear of his teammate. Had either of the Ferraris started near him, Hamilton would have been in more trouble at the start. However, Ricciardo's delay behind his teammate gave Hamilton some breathing room, and when Verstappen came at him, Hamilton thought of the championship and didn't fight him too hard. An early first pit stop helped add to his margin over Ricciardo, and after the Red Bull driver became embroiled in a fight with Vettel, Hamilton had enough time in hand to collect a valuable second place. Sergio Perez. Only after the race did Perez reveal just how unwell had been during the Malaysian Grand Prix weekend. Had been on an intravenous drip due to a stomach infection on Saturday night. Nonetheless, having qualified ninth, he made a cracking start, which got him ahead of his teammate Nico Hülkenberg. After that he passed Stoffel Vandoorne and ground out a gritty and hard-earned sixth place. Stoffel Vandoorne. Despite losing that place to Perez, Vandoorne deserves credit for what was his most convincing F1 race weekend to date. He was a tenth of a second quicker than Fernando Alonso in qualifying, which meant he started 3 places ahead. The key moment of his race came when he left the pits on lap 14. The 2 Williams drivers, who had pitted before him, came out ahead. However, they were too busy swapping positions to prevent Vandoorne nipping down the inside. Job done, he was on his way to a fine 7th. Strugglers Jolly and Palmer had a couple of slip-ups. Palmer actually finished just in front of his teammate. However, this was only because Nico Hülkenberg's strategy had gone so badly wrong he had to make a second pit stop with a few laps to go. For Palmer, 2 unforced spins spoiled his afternoon and left him well outside the points. Valtteri Bottas. While Hamilton made the best of a tough weekend for Mercedes, Bottas was well off his teammate's pace in the race and qualifying. He was 43 seconds behind when the checkered flag fell. Marcus Ericsson. Similarly, Ericsson couldn't live with Pascal Wehrlein's pace in Malaysia and finished a distance 18th. And the rest. Vettel overcame minimal resistance to take 4th. Is it too harsh to overlook Vettel given he made up 16 places? Most of those places were gained at the expense of much slower cars. The quicker midfield cars all pitted before he caught up to them, with the exception of Perez, who didn't really put up a fight. That was the last car he passed on track, as he easily jumped Bottas in the pits and couldn't find a way past Ricciardo. Both he and Stroll could have done more to avoid their needless post-race tangle, though it seems Vettel is the one who will pay a price for it. Räikkönen missed a chance at pole, but it didn't matter as he wasn't even able to start. Ricciardo paid the price for getting stuck behind Bottas early on, but still managed to score his 8th podium finish. Felipe Massa left the Force India's too little room at the start and suffered floor damage, which slowed him down. He let Stroll by when his team told him to. Esteban Ocon was doubly unlucky, as well as picking up a puncture when he was hit by Massa. Carlos Sainz Jr. tipped him into a spin later in the race. Fernando Alonso's attempt to run a long first stint backfired and left him outside the points. He was followed home by Kevin Magnussen, who Alonso put some manners on along the way, and the other Haas of Romain Grosjean, who fell to the back when he went off on lap 1. Grosjean passed Gasly near the end of the race. The Toro Rosso newcomer had a solid first weekend, despite not being able to drink during the race. Pascal Wehrlein again left the weekend with nothing to show for his efforts, unless Vettel left him a tip for his taxi ride back to the paddock. Over to you. Vote for the driver who impressed you most last weekend and find out whether other F1 fanatics share your view here. Vote for your 2017 Malaysian Grand Prix driver of the weekend. 2017 Malaysian Grand Prix. Browse all 2017 Malaysian Grand Prix articles.